Hello, am I audible to you? Shashikala, and please inform to your friends. I'm going to take the class of animal physiology. We'll start the class at 1:40. Please inform to your friends to join in the classroom. Divya, Divya, are you audible to me? My voice is clear to you. Please respond if I am
Clear,
audible.
sir, clear.
Yes, yes. Okay, then we'll start the class. Shall I start the class now? Because shall I wait for some time? The screen is visible to you, Divya.
Yes, sir.
Endocrine system.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you so much. Please respond me because for 5 minutes, then no problem. Because shall I start? I will start the class at 1:40. Let them join all. Then we'll discuss the endocrine system. And inform to your friends to join into the classroom. Madam, ఇద్దరు అమ్మాయిలు చేరారు మేడం. Okay, నేను స్టార్ట్ చేస్తా. Yes, I will start now. Okay, right. Bye. Yeah, the time is now like more or less 1:40. I am starting the class. And today's topic is animal physiology. That is second sem physiology topic. I hope this is the first. This is the class where we will discuss about the endocrine system. First, we'll discuss what is endocrinology. Then we will discuss what are the different types of endocrine organs which we are finding in our body. Then after that, we will discuss what is that. What are the hormones which is released by the endocrine organs. Then we'll discuss each and every endocrine organ or endocrine part with respect to the different types of hormones, their functions, metabolic functions, and their problems and work because of the overexpression as well as less expression. Okay, these are the topics which we are going to discuss today. Yes, today we'll discuss about the endocrine system. Okay, first, what is endocrine system? Generally, in physiology, we will find two types of system that is called as endocrine glands as well as exocrine glands. Exocrine gland means the gland which will secrete their secretions into the vessels or ducts. That is called as exocrine system. Generally, the best example for the exocrine glands that is what is that digestive glands. Digestive glands are the best example for exocrine glands. For example, if you take what is that stomach or small intestine, pancreas, like what is that your mouth. We are having the different types of exocrine glands. They will release the different types of enzymes and they will do the enzymatic functions. Okay. Then what about endocrine glands? Endocrine glands are ductless glands. That means they doesn't have any vessels or ducts to secrete their secretions into the what is that body. Okay, that type of glands you can call it as endocrine glands or as well as what is that ductless glands. But what is the main use of endocrine glands? Because generally we will discuss as what is that endocrine glands are useful for the what is that internal maintenance or internal what is that homeostatic mechanism. But why? Because especially in higher vertebrates like human beings are having the highly developed nervous system. But why we are having a endocrine system in our body? Generally, for example, you see that nervous system or central nervous system, what we are having in the vertebrates, they are temporary in nature. For example, if you have given a stimulus, that stimulus will work for a certain time, then it will be get down the stimulus which has generated the action potential. I mean to say that the nervous system, what is that internal maintenance for temporary. But while you're coming to the endocrine system is having the maintain the internal standard conditions in our body. Okay, by releasing the different types of chemical mediators. And the lifetime also this that means the time period for this endocrine sensation will be more or less stronger than the central nervous system. Then what are the different types of endocrine glands which we are finding in our body? In our body, we are finding the different types of endocrine glands like what is that pituitary gland, then thymus, then thyroid gland, parathyroid gland. Then we'll also discuss that means in head region, we will find the pituitary gland, which we are calling as master of our orchestra of the endocrine system. That means which will release the hormones as well as which will stimulate and take the control of the other endocrine glands. That's why we will discuss this pituitary gland as masters of all endocrine glands. Then we are coming to your downside of your head region that we are calling as neck region. What is the besides of your trachea, we will find thyroid gland as well as parathyroid gland. Thyroid gland as well as parathyroid gland. This thyroid gland and parathyroid gland mainly useful for the calcium metabolism as well as metabolic reactions which is occurring in our body. Then if you get down, you will find the thymus, but thymus we won't find in the adult, but we will find in the childhood, which is useful to develop the develop and proliferate the T lymphocytes, especially immunological responses which you are finding, especially cell-mediated immunity in the younger ones. Then if you go down, then we will find the pancreas. Yes, we'll also call it as pancreas. You can see that my diagram here. I have shown the diagram here. In this diagram, you are seeing the head region, that is pituitary gland. The neck region, thyroid and parathyroid gland. Then what is that? Your mediastinum cavity above your heart or beside your heart, we will find the what is that thymus gland. Then you're finding the yellow color gland that is called as what is that pancreas. Yes, as I said, that pancreas is a composite gland where we will find the both exocrine and endocrine part. That's why you can call this pancreas as what is that exocrine gland as well as endocrine gland. Exocrine gland as well as endocrine gland. Then you can see here you are finding the red color ones. This is not stomach. This is actually that is kidney. On the kidney, you will find the one pair of endocrine that is called as adrenal gland. Okay. Then coming to the male and female reproductive organs. In male, we will find the testis as reproductive organ. Then in female, we will find the what is that ovaries as endocrine gland or reproductive organs. These reproductive organs mainly release the what is that reproductive hormones which will develop the secondary sexual characteristics in the human being, both male and female. This is about the main concept of what is that the main organs of the endocrine system, which will useful to maintain the internal standards or internal homeostatic conditions, signaling mechanism, developing the body, developing the different types of what is that conditions, behavioral conditions in our body. For example, if you see that pituitary master gland that regulates all other endocrine glands also release the growth hormone. Thyroid gland, it is mainly useful for the metabolism. What is that? Body heat and bone growth. Parathyroid gland mainly useful for the calcium and phosphorus metabolism, mainly calcium metabolism. Then hypothalamus, we won't discuss now this hypothalamus. Generally, hypothalamus, what we will discuss, which will maintain the pituitary gland to release the different types of pituitary hormones. We'll discuss later about this hypothalamus after discussing about the pituitary gland. Then we'll discuss about the adrenal gland. Adrenal gland mainly useful to release the different types of stress-related hormones as well as steroidal hormones. Basically, this adrenal gland is having the three parts: zona glomerula, zona fasciculata, zona reticularia. These are the three important what is that areas you will find in the adrenal gland which is releasing their respective hormones. Then coming to the pancreas, pancreas mainly releasing the what is that glucose metabolism related hormones like insulin, glucagon hormones, and it is also released the somatostatin hormone, which is not exactly studied. Then coming to the next hormone, that is thymus. Thymus mainly found in the, I already told that in younger ones, you won't find in the, what is that, adulthood because of the thymic atrophy. The thymus size will be decreased and it is useful to develop the T lymphocytes in our body. Then the last one that is called as ovaries and testes. These ovaries and testes are useful to what is that develop the secondary sexual hormones in our body, like estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone hormones in the body. This is about the outline of the what is that endocrine organs which you are finding in our body. I hope how many students joined? Okay, good. Galaxy, some Oppo is there. I don't know the names. Okay. Then first we'll see that what is endocrine gland? Endocrine glands lacks the ducts that are present in the exocrine gland, and the endocrine glands secrete their products, which are biologically active molecules. Which are biologically active molecules. Are you able to see the slides? Everyone able to see these slides?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Good. Very
Sir.
good. Yeah. If you are having any doubt, you can stop me. No problem. Okay. Then yes, if you can have one doubt like sir, exocrine glands will secrete their enzymes into the ducts. The ducts will go and do its functions. But where these endocrine glands release their hormones? Endocrine glands mainly release their hormones into the bloodstream. Into the bloodstream. In the bloodstream, wait, it's not coming down. Yeah. In the bloodstream, there are some proteins that is called as plasma proteins. You can also call it as carrier proteins. Because, for example, you can take that FSH hormone, which is released from the anterior pituitary gland. Anterior pituitary gland. But it will function on the, what is that, ovary. That means it has to come down to the head region, neck region, abdominal, thoracic region, abdominal region. Because ovaries we will find in the lower abdominal region. But who will carry these hormones at target organs? Because anterior pituitary gland hormone is releasing the different types of hormones, but who will carry this released hormone from the endocrine gland to the target cell? Because the hormone will come and bind to the target cell and you will find the response against the hormone. But because these hormones are releasing into the bloodstream, after releasing into the bloodstream, there are some proteins which you are calling as carrier proteins, or you can also call it as plasma proteins. These plasma proteins carry the hormone to the effector organ or target organ. Then they will go and bind to the target receptor, then activate the cell, then cell will do its function with respect to that particular hormone. This is about the, what is that carrying of all these hormones. The next slide, you can see that what is that endocrine glands are called as ductless glands, release hormones directly into the bloodstream. Blood transports hormones throughout the body. Each hormone act as only a certain kind of what is that tissue is called as target tissue, because for example, FSH hormone cannot function on the, what is that, kidney cannot function on the other organ. It will go and activate only the target organ because they're having the what is the receptor mechanism. That hormone will go and ligand receptor what is the attaching mechanism. Hormones control several major processes that is called as reproduction, growth and development, mobilization of body activities or body defenses. Then wait for 1 minute. Yeah. Then what is that? Maintenance much of homeostasis, regulation of metabolism. These are the main properties which is done by the hormones. Then what are the different types of endocrine glands? Just now we saw the diagram. This is a diagram where you can find the exact space of the endocrine glands. While you're discussing also, you should discuss in a serial manner. This is hypothalamus, and it's a pink, yellow color one. You can call it as pituitary gland. Then thyroid and parathyroid, thymus, pancreas, adrenal gland on the kidney. Then this is testis. Then this is ovaries. These are the different types of endocrine glands you will find in the human body, all over your body, from head region to lower abdominal cavity. Then first endocrine gland we will discuss as pituitary gland. After discussing about the pituitary gland, we will discuss about the role of hypothalamus on the pituitary gland or influence of the hypothalamus on the pituitary gland. Yes, you can see this diagram here. This is the brain region. Below the brain, you are finding this, what is that, violet color. Below this violet color, you are finding a peanut-like structure. This is called as pituitary gland. And this is called as hypothalamic region. In the hypothalamic region, you will find a this is thalamus region. This is hypothalamus region. This is hypothalamus region. Then you will find here this pituitary gland. Okay. That means the size of the pituitary gland is like a peanut-like structure. The botany which you will eat daily, that much of size you will find in the here. And where is the exact position you will find the pituitary gland? We will find the pituitary gland mainly, what is it, like, below the hypothalamic region. Exactly, if anybody asks you, where exactly you will find the hypothalamus? We will find the hypothalamus in a, what is that, a tarsica-like structure, a groove-like structure. That groove we are calling as sella tarsica. That means below the hypothalamus, we will find a groove-like structure. On this groove, you will find a, what is a peanut-like structure with a stalk-like structure is attached to the hypothalamus. That is called as infundibulum. Okay. This is how it will situated in the, what is that, below the hypothalamus. You can see here in the slide, protected by the sphenoid bone. This is your sphenoid bone. Then has two functional lobes, that is called as anterior pituitary, then posterior pituitary. We'll discuss about this functional things after some time elaborately. Yes, generally you see that hormones are, this pituitary gland is having two main parts, that is called as anterior pituitary gland. Anterior pituitary gland mainly having the granular part. Granular part means which will release the different types of hormones. Then posterior pituitary gland, you can call it as a neuronal part, because generally hypothalamic centers will release some secretions. These secretions through the neuronal tract, they will reach to the posterior pituitary. At the time comes, like what is that, oxytocin and melanocyte stimulating hormone. These two hormones released from the posterior pituitary. That's why we are calling this posterior pituitary as a neuronal tissue. Yes, you can see here hormones of the anterior pituitary. Hormones of the anterior pituitary gland. Generally, what is that? How much time should I take the class? Up to? Excuse me?
Sir, 1.5 hours.
1.5 hours. That means 1:30 to 3.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, there are two types of hormones which is released from the hormones. What is it? From the anterior pituitary. Sir, why you are telling two types? Because thymic hormones and general hormones. Thymic hormones means the hormones which is released from the anterior pituitary, which will go and stimulate the other endocrine gland. Which will go and stimulate the other endocrine gland. That type of hormones we can call it as thymotropic hormones. That means it is not directly going and activating the cell and doing its function. For example, the best example for ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone. That means the hormone which is released from the adrenal gland, that is ACTH, which will go and activate the other endocrine gland as what is that, adrenal gland. this adrenal gland activate and release the hormone. For example, take TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. That means when thyroxine is what is that need by your body, then anterior pituitary will get the signal. Then anterior pituitary will release the TSH. That TSH will go and activate the thyroid gland to release the thyroxine hormone. That means to release the thyroxine from the thyroid gland, you need a activator or you need a stimulator from your anterior pituitary. This type of hormones, which is activating the other endocrine gland to do its function or to release its hormones or their hormones. What is that? You can call it as what is that thymotropic hormones. Now you'll see that the slide here. 6 anterior pituitary hormones are there. 2 effect on non-endocrine targets. For example, take growth hormone. Growth hormone cannot affect any endocrine glands. That type of hormones, that is called as, out of 6 hormones, 2 hormones are non-effective. What is that? Non-targeted hormones. Then 4 stimulating other endocrine glands, you can call it as tropic hormones or tropic hormones. Then characteristics of all anterior pituitary hormones. What are the exact characteristics? Generally, in your theory book, if you can see that there are classification of hormones. That means peptidal hormones, glycoprotein hormones, steroidal hormones. What is that? Steroidal hormones, for example, what is that? Corticosterone, what is that? Aldosterone, testosterone, progesterone, estrogen. These are the hormones which comes under steroidal hormone. It is very important question for your competitive exams. Like that, there are different types of hormones which you'll find in our body. Then mainly hormones are proteins and peptides. What is that? ACTH through second messenger system. They act against the second messenger system. That means hormone will come and bind to the cell membrane receptor on the effector organ. Then it will activate the secondary messenger system, especially cyclic AMP. That means if it is activating the adenylate cyclase, this adenylate cyclase will convert the ATP into AMP. This AMP will go and release the calcium ions in our cell. Then cell will be stimulated to secrete their hormones. That means act through the secondary messenger system. Okay. Then regulated by the hormonal stimuli, mostly negative feedback mechanism. Then you can see here the next slide. I hope you are understanding my language and speed. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes. If you are having any problem with my speed, and then you can tell me freely. Then this is the slide where we can see that hormones of anterior pituitary gland. You can see here, this is a pink color and yellow color. The pink color, which is considering as anterior pituitary. Then yellow color is considering as posterior pituitary. This pink color one mainly, what is that? Stimulated by your hypothalamus. We'll discuss later what is that, how it will stimulate. Okay. And release the hormones for portal secretion. Portal secretion means that is a circulatory system. Then they will do its function. For example, growth hormone. Growth hormone will act. We'll discuss every hormone separately, but first we'll discuss about the gist of the hormones which is releasing from the anterior pituitary. Outline of the, what is that, hormones. Growth hormone mainly releasing the, what is that, bones. This growth hormone mainly activating the bone metabolism or bone growth as well as muscle growth in our body. That's why you can also call this growth hormone as STH, somatotropic hormone. That means mainly the somatic organs which you are finding in our body mainly activated or get the growth because of this or due to this growth hormone. The next hormone that is called as prolactin, PRL, you can call it as PRL. Mainly it is useful for the secretion of milk gland from the mammary glands. Okay, this is called as prolactin. Both this growth hormone and prolactin hormone, they are mainly non-endocrine hormones, because I already told you that there are 4 endocrine hormones. You can call it as tropic hormones. 2 non-endocrine hormones, which we can best example for growth hormone and prolactin. Then coming to the next one that is called as tropic hormones, which is released from the anterior pituitary, that is called as FSH. Best example, follicle stimulating hormone. Then luteinizing hormone, LH. Both this follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone activates the testis as well as ovary to release and to develop the different types of gametic cells or reproductive cells in the reproductive organs, which we will discuss later how they will release. Then what is that thyrotropic hormone. You can also call it as thyroid stimulating hormone. Why I have not written the TSH? Because up to degree you can directly discuss as TSH, but we are in MSc now, postgraduate level, we can call it as thyrotropic stimulating hormone. That means tropic means which will activate the other gland, especially this TSH hormone will activate the thyroid gland. Then thyroid gland will release the T3 and T4 hormones. Then last tropic hormones from the anterior pituitary, that is called as ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormones. Generally, it will activate the cortex region of, you can see here generally what is that adrenal gland is having the two regions, outer region cortex, inner region medulla. Okay, this outer pale color region, inner dark color region you are finding here. Inner region you can call it as medulla, outer region you can call it as cortex. This cortex is stimulated to release the different types of corticosteroids from the adrenal cortex. The best hormone that is called as ACTH. Like this, from anterior pituitary, two non-endocrine targeted hormones, four endocrine targeted hormones like growth hormone and prolactin hormone, ACTH, TSH, LH, and FSH. These are the 6 important hormones which is released from the anterior pituitary, not posterior pituitary. Okay? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. Next, first hormones, which is a non-endocrine targeted hormone, that is growth hormone. You can also call this growth hormone as a somatotropic hormone. Sir, why this hormone we are calling as growth hormone? For example, after reaching a certain stage, our body will grow from younger stage to adult stage. After reaching some adult stage, then we will not find the growth in our body. Okay. Mainly this growth hormone useful to increase the metabolic reactions or increase the, glucose metabolism or increase the protein metabolism. While you are increasing the glucose metabolism or carbohydrate metabolism, protein metabolism, we will get the energy. When you are getting the energy, you will find the development in the bone. You will find the development in the somatic organs like muscles and other organs. That's why we are calling this growth hormone as somatotropic hormone. The general metabolic hormone. Growth hormone is a general metabolic hormone. For example, if you go to the TSH, that is also metabolic hormone. Mainly that is related to respiration. But when you're coming to the growth hormone, general carbohydrate metabolism, protein metabolism, lipid metabolism, then we will find the energy. That energy is useful to develop your body. That's why we will call this growth hormone as a general metabolic hormone. Major effects are directed growth of skeletal muscles as well as long bones. Because when you're finding the change in the size in our body with respect to the age, we need to change in the bone density. What is that? Muscle density. This muscle density and bone density at the age of growth mainly dependent on this growth hormone. Okay, causes amino acid. Building in the body? When you are building the amino acid in the body, obviously it will reach to the protein. Then protein is the building blocks of our body. You can call it in general mechanism or general physiology. Causes the fats to be break down. Okay, down for the source for the energy, because generally fats are the more source for the body energy. That's why mainly carbohydrate, lipid, as well as your protein going to the metabolic reactions and releasing the different types of energy sources. These energy sources are useful to develop your bones, especially long bones and skeletal muscles. Then you can see here, effect of growth hormone. I mean to say that every hormone you should discuss like this. When it is more, what type of problem? When it is less, what type of problem? General, what is the condition? General, what is that? With respect to the age, due to the metabolism of the different types of fats, it is that your carbohydrates and proteins, we are finding the general growth in our body due to the growth hormone. When it is less, what will be happen? You can see this diagram. There are two persons. One person is a gigantic person. One person is a dwarf person, very small person. He is the size of the more or less up to ankle region only. That means great production occurs during the childhood. Generally, the production of growth hormone, great production. You can see here they are small, but you can see here very long. Lack of the growth hormone, that is called as dwarfism. Dwarfism related due to the, less secretion of growth hormone from your anterior pituitary. That is called as pituitary dwarfism. You can see this diagram here. This fellow is very small. very, very small. Then excess, what is that, growth hormone leads to the gigantism or gigantism. That means the size of the body is huge like structure. Uh, you can also call it as acromegaly, but this is gigantism condition. The next one you can see this. This is the lady where you can see the what is that differences with respect to the what is that high secretion of growth hormone. You can see here that age 9, no problem. She is more or less age 9. That age 16, you can see this girl, more or less this woman looks like what is that 30 to 45, 40 age. But you can see at the 38 age, more or less, she looks like what is that like 60 years age. Then 56 years, she is very old. That means excess production of growth hormone, the growth plates of the bones have closed, so no increase. When there is no increasement of growth, what is that bones or bone size, then what will be happen? They will form like a plate-like structure. Then you will find like what is that? You can see here the nails and finger-like finger structures as well as the face structure. Okay, feet, hands, and face become heavy in appearance due to the high secretion of growth hormone. Then the next hormone that is called as prolactin. Next hormone that is called as prolactin. I already told you that lactin means that is related to milk production. Anywhere, because lactose that is related to enzyme with respect to the what is that milk metabolism in our body. Like that, prolactin mainly what is that stimulates the and maintains the milk production. Okay, following the childbirth. I mean to say that when sir, why we are not finding the milk secretion before what is that delivery, after delivery? Very simple. After delivery, the baby will come and suck the nipples of the mother. When the baby is sucking the nipples of the mother, then there is a activation of our anterior pituitary gland. That means suckling behavior of the baby activates the anterior pituitary gland in the mother. When it is activating the what is that anterior pituitary, then anterior pituitary will release the prolactin. When prolactin is released, the mammary gland secrete the milk. This is the exact mechanism. This is the exact mechanism. What is happening in the body? What is happening in the body with respect to the what is that child suckling, releasing of the prolactin from the anterior pituitary? That means you need a what is that activator. Okay. Generally, there is a hormone that is called PRH, prolactin releasing hormone from the hypothalamus. That means when a baby is sucking the what is that mammary glands of the mother, then what will be happening? Your hypothalamus will be saying what is that activated. Then hypothalamus will release the PRH. PRH will activate the anterior pituitary. Anterior pituitary will release the prolactin. Prolactin will go and act on the mammary gland to secrete the milk. Okay, that is the main concept of prolactin. Okay, prolactin mainly useful for the milk secretion or milk production in the what is that mothers and women. Then the next hormone that is called as adrenocorticotropic hormone. You can see here adreno. Adreno means adrenal gland. Cortico and cortex region. That means cortex region. Tropic means the hormone which is activating the other endocrine gland. That's why the name came as tropic. That means which will regulates the ACTH mainly regulates the activity of your adrenal cortex. Activity of your adrenal cortex. So that's why this is called as tropic hormone. Then you can see that thyroid tropic hormone or thyroid stimulating hormone, which will influence your thyroid gland. That means when same thing, this ACTH, TSH also activated by the hypothalamus. Activated by the hypothalamus. That means anterior pituitary is having the stimulus from the or sensation from your hypothalamus. Then hypothalamus releasing some what is that chemical messengers to activate the anterior pituitary. Then anterior pituitary will release the TSH. This thyroid stimulating hormone will enter into the bloodstream, go and act on the a receptor which is found on the thyrotropic cell that is called as thyroidal cell, and the thyroid will release the T3 and T4 or thyroxine hormone like that. That's why this hormone we are calling as TSH hormone. The next hormone that is called as gonadotropic hormones. Gonadotropic hormones means hypothalamus will release the GRH, gonadotropic releasing hormone. Then this hormone can activate the anterior pituitary to release the gonadotropic hormones like what is that FSH and LH. Follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone. Sir, what is follicle stimulating hormone? For example, you can see that in the woman, menstrual cycle, will find every month one egg will release from the what is that ovary. But why every month one egg will release? Because anterior pituitary will release a certain amount of FSH, a certain concentration of FSH. That FSH can only develop the only one egg in the ovary. That egg will come and fertilize, and that is different mechanism in the developmental biology. Okay, follicle stimulating hormone. That means it will stimulate the follicles in the ovary as well as testes. Okay, to release the different types of reproductive cells and gametic cells. Okay, then next one, the last one, that is called as luteinizing hormone. Luteinizing hormones means generally what is that? LH. Luteinization. Luteinization means popping out of your egg from the Graafian follicle. Generally, if you see that ovary structure, see the ovary structure. In the ovary, what we will find? We will find the primary follicle, secondary follicle. Generally, we won't find the germinal follicle in the ovary. In male, we will find the germinal follicle. In female, we won't find germinal follicle because they're already, what is that, division started before birth only. Okay, that's why there's no germinal follicles in the female. Primary follicles you will find. This primary follicle converted as secondary follicle. Secondary follicle is converted as Graafian follicle. Now this Graafian follicle, what is that? This Graafian follicle is having the ovatid or egg cell or ovum. To release this ovum from the Graafian follicle, we need an hormone that is called as, what is that, LH hormone. This, that means releasing of the egg cell or ovatid or ovum from the, what is that, Graafian follicle. That process is called as luteinization. The hormone which is useful for the luteinization, that is luteinizing hormone. Okay, you can see here the slide. If you see that follicle stimulating hormone stimulates the follicle development in the ovaries, stimulates sperm development in the testes or in the male. Next hormone, that is called as the luteinizing hormone, triggers the ovulation. That means ovulation means releasing of the ova from the ovary, that is called as ovulation. Causes the rupturing of the follicle, that is Graafian follicle, to become the Graafian follicle, corpus luteum. That stimulates the testosterone production in the males. Okay, referred as interstitial cell stimulating hormone in the male, because this interstitial cell stimulating hormone generally activates the different types of interstitial cells. You can also call it as leading cells in the, what is that, in the testis or in the male. These are the hormones which is released from the anterior pituitary. These are the hormones which is released from the anterior pituitary. And the next, is it clear? All the students, anterior pituitary gland hormones. So everyone understood?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, very good. The next hormones, that is called as posterior pituitary hormones. You can see here this pink one or some maroon color, dark pink color, maroon color, that is anterior lobe of the pituitary. Then this is posterior lobe. Actually, it is a different mechanism, not like what is that your post anterior pituitary. As I said that hypothalamus will release one stimulator. That stimulator will stimulate the anterior pituitary, then anterior pituitary releasing its hormones. But unlike to anterior pituitary, posterior pituitary is different. Generally, there are hypothalamus or hypothalamic neurosecretory cells. You can see here this diagram. I hope you are able to see this diagram. This area you are finding some neurosecretory cells. This neurosecretory cells, you can call it as hypothalamic neurosecretory cells. These neurosecretory cells will release some hormones. These secretions will come and store in the posterior pituitary. But how they will reach? If it is reaching into the bloodstream, that is well and good. But however, this one, these lines you can see here, this is called as tracts. Tracts means neuronal tracts. These neuronal tracts are useful to, what is that, transport the different types of chemical messages from the hypothalamic region to your posterior pituitary. Okay. Then you can see here in the posterior pituitary, we are finding the, what is that, posterior lobe and capillary lobe. Okay. This then they will release these hormones into this bloodstream. The main hormones from the posterior pituitary, that is ADH. ADH means anti-diuretic hormone. You can also call this hormone as vasopressin. You can also call this ADH as vasopressin. Okay. Generally, this vasopressin works on the kidney, What is the use? We will discuss about the vasopressin after some time. The next hormone, other than the ADH, which is released from the posterior pituitary, that is oxytocin. That is oxytocin, mainly from the what is that to activates the mammary glands and uterine muscles at the time of parturition. Okay, then we will discuss about the hormones of posterior pituitary. The first hormone that is called as oxytocin stimulates the contraction of the uterus draining due to the uterus what is that contractions due to the at the time of labor or at the time of parturition. Okay, then cause the milk ejection. Milk production is different, milk ejection is different. That means when oxytocin is releasing, already milk produced. This milk should be come out from your body, especially this oxytocin nowadays, they are synthesizing what is that artificially or synthetically and giving to the different types of calves, then they getting the milk without what is that calf baby. This is very dangerous. That's why the Indian government has banned this what is that synthetic oxytocin. Nowadays they are using very much high. It is what is that dangerous to the human health. Okay, stimulates the contraction of the uterus at the time of parturition. That means when the mother is joined in the hospital for the what is that delivery, first they will give the oxytocin hormone to get the what is it stimulates in the uterine muscles. Then the baby will be pushed out from the mother's body. Then it is also useful for the milk ejection. Okay. Then anti-diuretic hormone. The name itself is explaining that anti-diuretic hormone. First, I will explain a basic mechanism. First, I will explain a basic mechanism. What is that? Why the name came to this hormone as anti-diuretic hormone? The name came to this hormone as anti-diuretic hormone because of only one reason. Diuretic means more urine pass. Generally, you can see here what is that in general human being for a day, 1 to 1.5 liters of urine that kidney will be developed and it as a form and it will come out from our body. But sometimes you can see here the glomerular filtrate more or less is 72 liters. Every day, 72 liters of the glomerular filtrate will form by the kidney. But we are urinating only 1 to 1.5 liter. Sir, what about other amount of liquid or the remaining amount of the liquid? Out of 72 liter, you are taking out 1 to 1.5. That means 70 to 71 liters of the urine. Where it is going? Because there are many useful materials you will find in the glomerular filtrate like proteins, like sugar molecules, like salts, potassium, calcium, chlorine, what is that, sodium. All these useful materials to your body, it should be reabsorbable. That means more or less 70 liters of glomerular filtrate reabsorbed by your what is that our what is that urinogenital tract or urine tract. Then 1.5 liters of the urine will be released. That means it is stopping the or it is decreasing the volume of the urine. That's why this is called as anti-diuretic hormone. If you, for example, you can see that sugar patient. In sugar patient, they will go urination continuously or frequently. More or less 5 to 6 liters of urine they will pass in the what is that general day. But in normal women, what is that 1 to 1.5 liter. What is that urinating more urine that is called as a diuria. Diuria or diurination disease. This is against to the diuria. That's why this is called as anti-diuretic hormone. Okay, can inhibit the urine production. Then large amounts causes the vasoconstriction, leading to the increased blood pressure of this vasopressin. This is about the anti-diuretic hormone. These are the different types of hormones like oxytocin and anti-diuretic hormone released from the posterior pituitary gland. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Then coming to the next concept, I already told you that we will also discuss about the different types of stimulators which will stimulate your anterior pituitary coming from your hypothalamus. You can see this is hypothalamic region. This is exact diagram of your hypothalamus. This is optic chiasma, which is useful for what is that vision. Then this is a memory body of your brain. But we'll discuss about this pituitary hypothalamus, which will secrete the different types of secretions from this gland and secrete the anterior pituitary gland. There are here I didn't keep the slide, but we can discuss like this. ACTH will release from the anterior pituitary gland by a hormone which is released from the hypothalamus, that is called as ACRH. ACRH means adrenocorticotropic releasing hormone. That means a tropic hormone which is released from your pituitary but activated by your anterior pituitary secretion, that is called as ACRH. Then there is one more hormone that is called as PRH, prolactin releasing hormone. That means when PRH releases from the hypothalamus, this PRH will go and stimulate the pituitary to release the prolactin hormone when body needs milk or body need to secrete the milk. That is called as PRH. Then there is one more hormone that is called as TRH. TRH means thyrotropic hormone or thyroid releasing hormone. That means to release the TSH from the anterior pituitary, you need a stimulator. It should release from the or secrete from the hypothalamus. That is called as TRH. Then the next hormone that is called as GnRH. GnRH means gonadotropic releasing hormone. That means to release FSH and LH from the anterior pituitary. FSH and LH from the anterior pituitary, we need a stimulator. We need a stimulator from the hypothalamus, that is called as GnRH, gonadotropic hormones, which will stimulate the pituitary, then release FSH and LH. This FSH and LH, what it will do? Generally, it will do the activates the ovary and mammary glands from our body. This is about the what is the different types of hormones which is released in the hypothalamus and activates the your pituitary gland. Release hormones, and you can see the slide now. We'll see the read the slide. Release of hormones is controlled by the releasing and inhibiting the hormones produced by the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus produces two hormones that are transported to neurosecretory cells of posterior pituitary. Then the posterior pituitary is not strictly endocrine gland, but does not release the hormone. The next gland that is called as thyroid gland. Here I kept the two diagrams. You can see the diagram. Wait for 1 minute. You can see this. I hope you are able to see these slides. Under slides,
Yes, sir.
yeah, very good. This is the human face. Below this human face, you are finding the trachea. What is that? Around the trachea or beside the trachea, you are finding a pair of glands that is called as thyroid glands. Then if you zoom at this diagram, you can see this. This is a trachea. This is the one white color on the trachea. This is thyroid cartilage, which is related to skeletal system part. Then you're finding the gland here. This is called as thyroid gland. Then the thyroid gland is bilobed structure. This is one lobe and this is one right side one lobe and left side one lobe. Both lobes are attaching with the connection that is called as isthmus. The two thyroid glands beside to your trachea attached with the stalk-like structure or attachment that is called as what is that isthmus. Then what are the hormones which is releasing from the thyroid gland? As I said just now in the earlier, to release the hormones from the thyroid gland, we need an activator from the, yes, any doubt?
No.
Anyone? Somebody is talking. If you have any
No.
doubt, you can stop me. Yeah, no problem. If you have any doubt, you can stop me, please. Okay. To release the thyroxine or thyroid-related hormones from the thyroid gland, we need an activator that is called as TSH. Then TSH will come and bind to the thyrotropic cells of the thyroid gland. Then thyrotropic cells will stimulate this cell to release the thyroid gland cell. That is thyroxine, that is T4, secreted from the thyroid follicle. Triiodothyronine, T3. Okay, it is that lifetime of the triad thyroid is very less in course of time or within fraction of seconds and minutes. This T3 also converted as what is the T4. Okay. Generally, thyroxine means T4, tetraiodothyronine. T3 means triiodothyronine. The next one, what is the secretion of the thyroid gland when it is more and when it is less? You can see here cretinism. Cretinism means abnormal thyroid development. When thyroid is not developed up to the mark in our body, then we will find one problem that is called as cretinism. Abnormal thyroid development, short, stocky body type. You can see here this fellow. Then severe hyperthyroidism causes the mental retardation because mentally to develop our IQ, we need thyroxine hormone. When thyroxine hormone is very less, what will happen? We will find a disease that is called as cretinism. Then this is about the hypothyroidism. There's one more disease that is called as myxedema. You can see that below the neck, you are finding edema or inflammation here. That is called as myxedema. Hypothyroidism in adults, lethargy, weight gain, loss of faith. Finally, it will take to our death or graveyard. That's why this disease is called as Graves' disease, hypothyroidism. Sorry, hyperthyroidism. Next one. Hyperthyroidism leads to the, what is that, Graves' disease. It will more activity of the metabolic functions. Then we will get the problems and we will die. That is called as Graves' disease. Causes the exophthalmic. You can see the eyes of this lady. That means the eyeballs will come out like this. You can easily find out that girl is having hyperthyroidic. Causes the exophthalmic goiter, edema behind the eyes, and causes burning, hyperactivity, and erythemosis. These are the different types of problems, which is more, if it is less. Less means cretinism, more and myxedema. More means Graves' disease or hyperthyroidism. These are the problems which you will find in the human body due to the high and low secretions of the thyroxine hormone. Then the next important gland that is called as parathyroid gland. That is called as parathyroid gland. That is called as parathyroid gland. Generally, this parathyroid gland will release the hormone that is called as parathyroid and hormone that is called as parathyroid. You can see this red color and a peanut-like structure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yellow color one. These are the parathyroid glands which is situated on the thyroid gland. Tiny masses of on the posterior of the thyroid gland. You can see small, tiny means small. Secrete parathyroid hormone that is called as parathyroid. Mainly useful for the bone metabolism or calcium metabolism. Stimulate the osteoclast cell to remove the calcium from bone. Then stimulate the kidney and intestine to absorb the more calcium. Then raise the calcium levels in our body. This is the use of parathyroid gland. That means parathyroid gland present on the thyroid gland, like 4 lobes, 2 pair in each side of your thyroid gland. Then they release a hormone that is called as parathyroid. Parathyroid activates or stimulates the calcium metabolism to release from osteoclast and osteoblast. That stimulates the kidney, intestine to absorb the calcium in the intestine, then release the calcium level, and it will also raise the calcium level in our body. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
All of you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. The next one that is called as adrenal gland. Adrenal gland is little bit complex one because it is having different types of parts. You can see this is adrenal gland. Generally, this type of adrenal gland present on the kidney. This is the kidney, left kidney and right kidney. On the left kidney and right kidney, we are finding the other organ that is called as a adrenal gland. Adrenal gland means the gland which is situated on the adrenal area. Adrenal area means kidney area. That is called as adrenal gland. Generally, there are 2 parts in the thyroid. What is that adrenal gland? You can see here, the outer part is called as cortex region. Inner part is called as medulla region. 2 parts mainly in the adrenal gland. Outer light color band, that is called as adrenal gland. inner darker area that is called as medulla. That means adrenal cortex region, adrenal medulla region. Generally, that sits on the kidney. Then this is about the cortex region. You can see here, this is a cortex region, white color one. Then blue color one, that is medulla region. First, we'll discuss about the cortex region. Generally, the adrenal gland is covered by a connective tissue layer that is called as capsule. Below the capsule, you are finding cortex. Below the cortex region, you are finding the medulla. These are the parts or transverse section of thyroid gland in the human body. Then you can see that microscopic section. As I said that cortex region is having the different types of regions. You can see this is the capsule. Upper red region is called as the zona glomerula. Middle pink, light pink region that is called as zona fasciculata. Next one that is called as pink color that is called as zona reticularis. Then below the zona reticularis you are finding the blue color that is medulla. These are the parts you will find. What is that? Zona glomerula, zona fasciculata, zona reticulosa. These are the main important hormones which is released from important areas which we are finding in the adrenal gland. Yes. What exactly you will find in the adrenal gland? Any doubts? Yes, now we can see hormones of the adrenal gland. The first hormones that is called mineralocorticoid, glucocorticoids, and sex-related hormone that is called as sex hormones. There are three types of hormones which you are finding in the or which is released from the different regions of adrenal gland that is called as mineralocorticoids that is related to mineral metabolism in our body. That's why this type of hormones is called as mineralocorticoids. Then the next one that is called as glucocorticoids. You can say that what is that? It is related to glucose metabolism. That's why this hormone is called as glucocorticoids. Then the next hormone that is called as sex hormones, mainly useful to develop the what is that reproductive organs or reproductive parts in our body. Okay, you can also call it as androgens. Okay, these are the hormones. First, we'll see that slide here. Mineralocorticoid, mainly aldosterone. The hormone which is released from the adrenal gland. The best example is mineralocorticoid, which is related to mineral metabolism. In that mineralocorticoid, main mineralocorticoid that is aldosterone. Aldosterone produced mainly outer adrenal cortex, regulate the mineral content in the blood, water, and electrolyte balance. Target organ is kidney because to absorb the minerals, I just now I showed that in the glomerular filtrate, we will find the different types of useful material. Like that, we will find the different types of useful material which will be reused or reabsorbed by your what is that excretory tract of kidney. Okay, like that, mineralocorticoids, main mineralocorticoid in out of all mineralocorticoids that is aldosterone. Okay, mainly work on the kidney. Production is stimulated by renin and aldosterone. Production is stimulated mainly renin and one more hormone is that is called as angiotensin or tensinogen released from the kidney. Production inhibited by arterial neurotic peptide. These are the main aldosterone useful for the what is that mineral metabolism in our body. The next one that is called as glucocorticoid. Glucocorticoids mainly cortisone and cortisol. Like aldosterone mineralocorticoid, in glucocorticoids, cortisone and cortisol are the main mineralocorticoids in our body, produced in the middle layer of the adrenal cortex. Then wait for somebody's messaging. Then promote the normal cell metabolism, help resist the long-term stresses, released response to increased blood levels of ACTH. This is the main use of what is that your cortisone and cortisol useful for the glucose metabolism. The next one that is called as sex hormones. You can also call it as sex corticoids, produced in the inner layer of the adrenal cortex, that is the fasciculata, reticularia. produced in the inner layer of the adrenal cortex. Androgens, male and female, okay, are different types to release the hormones. These are the adrenal what is that adrenal gland hormones, like what is that cortisol, aldosterone, then what is that one more hormone that is called as cortisone. Okay, thank you. Hormones of the adrenal cortex. You can see here, these are the adrenal cortex region and their functions. Yes. The next part of the adrenal gland, the hormones which were discussed in our previous, what is that, before lecture, aldosterone and cortisol, mainly released from the cortex region. But what are the hormones which is released from the medulla region or inner region of your cortex? Sorry, inner region of your adrenal gland. That is called as, there are two hormones which is mainly, that is called as epinephrine and norepinephrine. Epinephrine and norepinephrine. Epinephrine generally used for different mechanism. Norepinephrine is generally used for different mechanism. Okay. Epinephrine, you can also call it as 3F hormone. Why this is called as 3F hormone? Fight, flight, and fear. That means, for example, if you saw a small insect, you will go and kill. If you saw a big snake, then you will see first, observe first, then you will afraid, then you will run away from that place. That's why this epinephrine, or you can also call it as adrenaline. Epinephrine, you can also call it as adrenaline. Then they will do its function. Norepinephrine, you will also do its function. The hormones prepare for the body to deal with the short-term stress. Okay, mainly these hormones are useful to deal with the short-term stress. Hypothalamus and adrenal gland in stress response. These are PG student only. If you have interest, I can explain some time. You see that adrenal cortex is releasing the different types of hormones here. When hypothalamus is releasing the ACRH, that ACRH will activate the anterior pituitary. Anterior pituitary will release the ACTH. ACTH can activate the cortex region and middle region of the different types of thyroid gland. Then they will do its function to release the work. Yes. The next one that is called as pancreas. As I said in the introduction, pancreas is a both endocrine part and exocrine part. Pancreas is a both exocrine part and endocrine part. I mean to say that pancreas is having both ductless part and duct parts. You can see the diagram here. All this pancreatic cell will release the, or what is that, enzyme. This enzyme is collected by this wire-like structure, and it will be useful for its function by releasing the main portal area. Okay. Pancreas regulates the glucose or controlled glucose metabolism, then controlled via negative feedback mechanism, that is insulin and glucagon. Blood sugar level normally in the individual 90 milligrams per ml. 90 milligrams per ml. Then the first and important hormone which is released from the pituitary gland, that is called as pancreas, that is called as insulin. This insulin useful for the glucose metabolism. Generally, if you see the pancreas structure, pancreas is having the two important parts. Exocrine part. If anybody asks you, what is the exocrine part of the pancreas? Exocrine part of the pancreas is acinar cells, round structure. Acinar or pancreatic acini. They will release the digestive enzymes. Then the second one, that is called as islets of Langerhans. These islets of Langerhans are three types: alpha cells, beta cells, and gamma cells. Alpha cells will release the glucagon, beta cells will release the insulin, gamma cells will release the somatostatin. Insulin is useful for the glucose metabolism, which is released from the beta cells of islets of Langerhans. Okay, what exactly it will do? It will convert the glucose into glycogen. That means sugar into other sugar. Generally, glucose, if it is more in our body, then it will be taken out from your urine. That's why you need to convert the glucose when it is more in the bloodstream as glycogen. For example, you are having more money, we'll keep it in the bank. When we need, we'll go and get the bank, go to the bank and get the money. Like that, Insulin will also convert the glucose, high glucose into what is that? Glycogen. This converted glycogen will go and store it in the liver or hepatic cells. When your body needs, the glycose is converted as glucose. Glucose will enter into the bloodstream. That means, like your liver is like a bank, your insulin will convert the glucose into glycogen. This glycogen will go and convert what is stored in the hepatic cells. When your body needs more sugar, then obviously the glycogen is converted as glucose, then it will be reused. This is how pancreas is working. If there is a small secretion of the insulin or less secretion of the insulin, then what will be happen? Then there is a more sugar or more glucose in the bloodstream, then you will find the disease that is called as diabetic mellitus. Diabetics mellitus. For example, ADH hormone, I forgot to say that. If there is no ADH hormone, we will find a disease that is called as more urea formation, that is called as polyuria. Okay? That is called as diabetes insipidus disease. Then glucagon. The next hormone that is called as glucagon. This is opposite to your insulin. Insulin converts the glucose into glycogen, but glycogen will convert the, what is that? Glucagon will convert the glycogen to glucose. Produced from alpha cells of the islets of Langerhans, stimulate the change of glycogen into glucose in the liver. Synthesis of glucose from what is that? Lactic acid and non-carbohydrate molecules such as fatty acids and amino acids. Hypoglycemic, low blood sugar and deficient of glycogen in our body. Regulation of blood sugar levels. You can see that high blood sugar promotes the insulin release. Then pancreas will release the insulin hormone. Okay, this insulin hormone will go and what is that? Convert this more glucose into glycogen. This glycogen is stored here in the hepatic cell. This is the what is that outline diagram of this one. When your body needs more sugar, you can see this liver cycle or what is that pathway. This glucose is converted as glycogen. This glycogen can convert as glucose. Okay. Diabetes mellitus. Diabetes mellitus is the main disease due to the accumulation of high sugar around the cell. That is called as diabetic condition when there is a less hormone of insulin level in the bloodstream. Then there are two types of diabetes you will find, that is called as the type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes generally can also call it as insulin dependent diabetes mellitus, IDDM, because type 1 diabetes, what it will be happen? There is a less secretion of insulin. That's why we are getting the sugar disease. That's why this is called as insulin dependent diabetes mellitus. Then there is one more type 2 diabetes, or one more type of diabetes that is called as type 2 diabetes. You can call it as non-insulin dependent diabetes mellitus. Non-insulin dependent diabetes mellitus means there is no involvement of what is that insulin. Insulin will be optimum level in the bloodstream. But you can ask me one doubt, sir, insulin is there, but why the diabetes is coming in the type 2 diabetes? Very simple. Insulin optimum level or the concentration how much needed by the body will be present. But the receptor which will respond against the insulin hormone, that receptor cannot be activated or blocked. That is called then it is causing a disease that is called as type 2 diabetes. Then this is the what is the histology of the your pancreas. You can see here this is islets of Langerhans, and in between you are finding different types of cells. This cell you can call as a interstitial cell. Then they will release the hormone. Then pineal gland. There is one more gland in our body which will release the what is the different types of secretion like melatonin, which is found in your brain region, that is called as pineal gland, found in the third ventricle of the brain. Then secretes the melatonin hormone. This melatonin hormone is useful to activates different types of metabolic reactions in our body when there is a less light when there is a more light, melatonin concentration will be changed in our body. Very important with respect to the cancer. Helps in the establishment of body's wake and sleep cycles. Because you know that if you sleep, you will wake up at 6 or 7. But who told that you have to wake up? This pineal gland is take caring about the biological rhythms. Pineal gland will take care about the biological daily manner. The biological rhythm mainly maintained by your pineal gland. Then the next one, thymus. I already told that thymus is only present in the young ones. It will not present in the younger. What is the adult one? Because there is a process that is called as thymic atrophy. Thymic atrophy means slowly, thymus, glandular thymus will be decreased. Then fat thymus. When age is increasing, the glandular cells will be replaced by the fat cells. Then the activity of the thymus will be decreased. Okay. Located posterior to the sternum. Okay. Beside to your what is it, heart region. That's why this is called as thymus. Largest in infants and children produce thymus in hormone. More mature some types of white blood cells, especially T lymphocytes, useful to development of different types of immune cells in our body. That is thymus. Can anybody tell me one answer for one question? If a baby born without thymus, what is that syndrome? Any one of you? If anybody, a baby born with the less developed or absence of thymus, what type of disease you will find? You should give the answer. It may be online, but you can reopen that, you can unmute and mute once again. What type of disease you will get when there is no thymus or less thymus development in the human body? You should give the answer. If you're in theory class, I would have asked many questions. This is online class, it will record. That's why I'm not asking the questions. Yes, if you give the answer only, then I will teach. Otherwise, I won't teach. Yes, DiGeorge syndrome. There is a syndrome that is called as DiGeorge or DiGeorge syndrome. DiGeorge, DiGeorge syndrome. When an individual is having the DiGeorge syndrome or DiGeorge syndrome, you will find the congenital problems or genetical problems where you will find the less development of thymus or absence of thymus. Especially, they will lack the, they don't develop the cell-mediated immunity because thymus mainly develop the T lymphocytes. That's why you will find the, what is that, malfunction of this T lymphocyte function. Then the last gland that is called as hormones of the ovaries. There are two reproductive glands which you are finding in the human body. If it is male, that is testis. If it is a female, that is ovary. Then we will see that. What are the hormones which generally what we will talk, ovary means which you release the egg. Testis means that is releasing the spermatozoa or sperm cells, which we are calling as gametic cells. But why we are keeping this reproductive organs in the endocrine glands? Because these reproductive organs like ovary and testis, they will release some hormones to develop the secondary sexual characteristics and to activate the or to stimulate the synthesis of different types of reproductive cells or gametic cells like ova and spermatozoa in our body or in the reproductive organs. That's why we kept these ovaries and testes in the endocrine glands. Humans having the ovary in the female, testis in the male. Then hormones of the ovaries are like this. Estrogen and testosterone, very important. Steroidal hormones. They're very less concentration, but the activity will be more. Okay. Estrogen mainly produced from the Graafian follicle. Mainly, I have written here placenta. In the slide, you can see here this is placenta. But placenta is very less concentration. Mainly, estrogen is released from the Graafian follicle, stimulates the development of secondary sexual characteristics in the female. Then mature the female reproductive organs, helps to produce the uterus to receive the fertilizing egg, then helps to maintain the pregnancy, then prepare the, what is the best to produce the best milk or produce the milk in the young for the young one in the mother. Then there is no next hormone, especially you can see that Graafian follicle PG level, if you want to if you need little much depth, you can see that Graafian follicle mainly having the different types of layers. The first layer, which is covering the Graafian follicle, that is theca externa. Second layer, that is theca interna. Third layer, that is called as membrana granulosa, corona radiata, cumulus effurus, then ovatid. These are the sequence of layers which is covering the Graafian follicle, not ovary. Then theca interna will release the, generally what we will call estrogen is released from the Graafian follicle. If anybody asks very depth, membrana granulosa. But in the PG level, if you want to give the answer, theca interna will release the proestrogen, not estrogen, inactivated estrogen. This proestrogen, in presence of activator, which is released from the membrana granulosa, then this proestrogen is converted as estrogen. That's why, that is the reason, in the Graafian follicle, membrana granulosa is secreting the estrogen, but actually estrogen not synthesized or released from the, what is that your membrana granulosa. Generally, it is released from the theca interna, but it is inactivated stage. It is released in the, what is that, lumen of your Graafian follicle. Then membrana granulosa will release that activator, which will activate or which will convert the pro to active estrogen. This active estrogen will send the signal to develop the secondary sexual characteristics in the female. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Then progesterone, next hormone. Yes.
yes, sir.
After ovulation, taking out the egg from the Graafian follicle, that remaining follicle, that means already egg removed. That means you have taken out the peanut from that shell. మనం బఠానీ తింటుంటే లోపల బఠానీ ఉంటుంది, దాని చుట్టూ చిన్న కవర్ ఉంటుంది. మనం ఆ కవర్ తీసేసి బఠానీ తింటాం. సేమ్ థింగ్. Graafian follicle is having the layers with the ovatid. In presence of LH, this ovatid will come out. Ruptured Graafian follicle, you can call it as corpus luteum. Ruptured Graafian follicle, you can call it as Graafian follicle. Sorry, you can call it as corpus luteum, because nobody will not give the importance to the corpus luteum, but it is having its own, what is that, importance in the female reproductive system and in the female physiology. Okay, what it will do? It will release a hormone that is called as progesterone. This progesterone will be useful to maintain the pregnancy. Can anybody know what is the maintenance of pregnancy? Maintenance of the pregnancy means it is useful to implant fertilization. After fertilization, it is useful for the implantation. After implantation, it is useful to develop the baby. Actually, progesterone doesn't have any role in the development of baby, but this progesterone and estrogen, when they are high in the blood level, FSH will not be released. That is the reason at the time of what is that conceive, or at the time of what is that pregnancy, there is no releasing of one more egg. That means menstrual cycle will be stopped in the woman because of this reason. Because estrogen level, progesterone level will be more. When estrogen and progesterone level are more, anterior pituitary gland cannot release the FSH. That means estrogen and progesterone hormone is having the negative effect on the anterior pituitary, post, what is that, positive effect on the pregnancy. Okay, you can see here progesterone is released from the corpus luteum, acts with the estrogen to bring about the menstrual cycle. Okay, then helps in the implantation of the embryo in the uterus. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Then
sir.
coming
Yes,
to the
sir.
last reproductive organ, that is called as testis. Last organ, that is called as testis. Hormones of the testis, mainly two hormones, but mainly one hormone, we will discuss as one hormone, that is called as testosterone. Testosterone mainly released from the leading cells. Leading cells. Leading cells means which is finding in between the, what is that, seminiferous tubule. If you see the structure of the testis, structure of the testis mainly having the, what is that, a cells-like structure, a tubule-like structure, that is called as seminiferous tubules. These seminiferous tubules will develop the, what is that, spermatozoa. But to develop the spermatozoa from the seminiferous tubule, you need testosterone. This is testosterone is released from the interstitial cells of the, what is that, testis, that is called as testosterone or interstitial cells. Okay, you can see here testosterone is the most important androgen. Androgen is related to male, responsible for the adult male secondary sexual characteristics. promotes the growth and maturation of male reproductive system, required for sperm production. Then interstitial cell stimulating hormone will be there. One more ICSH, like LH hormone, or FSH hormone, that is called as interstitial cell stimulating hormone. These are the two hormones which are useful to develop leading cells as well as seminiferous tubule to develop the sperm cells or spermatozoa from the testes. This is about the testes. Then other hormone producing in the tissues and organs. Other than these endocrine hormones, there are other parts of the small intestine, parts of the stomach. For example, if you go to the what is cholecystokinin, released from the what is that your duodenum. Duodenum will release the cholecystokinin, which will useful for the releasing of the what is that pancreatic juices. Cholecystokinin will release from this here. When food is there, then your small intestine will be activated. Then you release the cholecystokinin. This cholecystokinin activates the liver, or other than the liver, what is that your gallbladder? Then gallbladder will release the pancreatic, what is that your liver juice. Then kidney. Just now I told you that kidney will release the angiotensin. This angiotensin 1, angiotensin 2, they're useful to activate the adrenal cortex region to release the mineralocorticoids. That's why kidney is the main function, which is having the, what is that, hormonal function also. Heart, and many other areas like have secreted the endocrine cells. This is about the different types of hormones, which is released from your, from our human body. Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay. What exactly you need in the endocrine physiology? Because in physiology, read like this: endocrine physiology, digestive physiology, respiratory physiology, excretory physiology, like this. In endocrine physiology, yes, especially for your theory exams, this one is very important. And we left with the two concepts: classification of endocrine hormones like peptidal hormones, steroidal hormones, glucoprotein hormones, only protein hormones. Like this here, we can divide. Then there is one more important concept which I have not discussed here, that is called as in endocrine physiology, that is what is that mechanism of endocrine function or hormone function. Yes, hormone is releasing from the endocrine organ, entering into the bloodstream. Through the carrier proteins, it is reaching to the target cell. But after reaching to the target cell, how it is activating the target cell to release other hormone or to do its function? Very, very simple. That is called as a secondary messenger system. Okay. I mean to say that hormone will come and bind to the receptor, a particular receptor on a target cell. After binding on the target cell, there is an enzyme that is called as adenylate cyclase. Generally in our cell, in the intracellular cell fluid, this adenylate cyclase will be in inactive form. When receptor is coming and binding, this adenylate cyclase will be activated. When adenylate cyclase is activating, your ADP, adenosine diphosphate, or ATP, adenosine triphosphate, is converted as AMP, adenosine monophosphate. This adenosine monophosphate, okay, will release more calcium ions to the cell. Then cell is activate like anything. Then cell will release the different types of hormones or different types of responses from the target cell. This is called as what is that mechanism of hormone action. Mechanism of hormone action. Like this, read what are the endocrine, what is hormone, how it functions, what are the endocrine glands. Each gland will release one hormone. If it is more, if it is less, and what is its function. For example, growth hormone. Growth hormone is useful for the protein metabolism, glucose metabolism, lipid metabolism. Release the energy. Useful. This is normal function. If it is more, we will find a disease that is called acromegaly or gigantism. If it is less, what you will find? Dwarfism. Like this, you will read for every organ. Okay, Nama? I hope
Okay, sir.
it is clear to you. Today I want to take one more class. Okay, I think at 6 o'clock, you please, any one of you, please send the message to me. My number is 891-9231-579. 891-9231-579. Maximum, I will take the class at 6 to something. Okay, then we will see that next part of the physiology. Today, 2 classes, tomorrow, 2 classes. Then more or less 4 classes will be completed. Okay, fine.
Okay,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you. Already 3. Maybe you are having one more class. Thank you so much. Bye.
Sir,
Yes, tell me. Any doubts?
how many topics are completed, sir?
I think you please ask Kishore sir. Okay.
Okay, sir.